All right. Good evening. I'd like to call the July 11th meeting of the Edison Public Library Board to order. Let the minutes reflect that it is 7 o'clock. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this scheduled meeting has been provided to the public by notices given to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, and Sentinel, posted on the library bulletin boards and website, and given to the Township Clerk's office. Roll call, please.
Good evening. Ms. Kraus?
She has an excused absence.
Okay. Ms. O'Neill?
Also an excused absence.
Ms. Mead?
Here.
Ms. Pam?
Here.
Mr. DePasquale?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Ms. Leary?
Here.
Mr. Romano?
Here.
And Ms. Massey?
Here. All right, thank you. So we have a quorum. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from June 13th, 2023. Do we have any comments or corrections? All right, hearing none, then the minutes will be approved by unanimous consent. And I would like to welcome Kat Leary here. Ray Alcantara is leaving for new adventures, leaving the township for new adventures, and Kat is going to be our mayor's representative. So I'm really, really happy to welcome you here. And also to thank Ray Alcantara for his service as the mayor's rep. He really has been very, very helpful as well. And we wish him all the best. I hope everybody has had an opportunity to look at the library's website, and I know it's also shared on Facebook for the bookmobile schedule. I did have a chance to stop by Minnie B. Veal and see the bookmobile when it was there on Monday. So I do really encourage you to go and check out that schedule and visit, because I think you'll find a lot of really great bestsellers are available. All right, so moving along, let's go to financial reports. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the financial reports ending June 30th, 2023? And if so, are there any questions on the operating account or capital account? You know, any of those accounts. All right, hearing none, are we ready to move to the bill list? Has everyone had an opportunity to review the bill list? And if so, are there any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, are we ready for a motion to approve the bill list?
Motion.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Mead?
Yes.
Ms. Pam?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. DePasquale?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We got it.
Mr. DePasquale?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Ms. Leary?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Ms. Massey?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, now we'll move to the director and assistant directors' reports.
Where should we begin? Summer reading is here, and the library branches are beaming with people. And I wish that we could get those people in from the community who honestly believe no one uses our libraries, to see the numbers of people both at our North Branch and at our Central Library, the main branch. And surprisingly, the circulation is beginning to grow at Clara Barton as well. And partly this is due to the summer programming. We're bringing people in of all ages. We have an excellent program coming up this Saturday at Clara Barton Branch with the Historical Society that's going to talk about the history of the Clara Barton branch, the Clara Barton neighborhood. And we're also starting later this month in cooperation with Literacy NJ, a citizenship class that will run for 12 weeks, which will help people prepare for the citizenship class. Ms. Massey already mentioned the bookmobile is on the road with the July and August schedules. We're starting to work on the fall schedules, which will be slightly different. One of the things to mention is we are going to several of the parks in town at the request of the Recreation Department. So we're working and having those stops in cooperation with the Recreation Department at their request. So this summer will be a good learning experience for us. We've been having air conditioning issues both at the Clara Barton and at the North Library, and those are currently being repaired, as well as the usual maintenance that we have to do. We've just recently had the fire inspector in, and we are working on the issues that he found mainly had to do with the fire extinguishers themselves. One big note this month was that the library was nominated for a national medal from the Institute of Museums and Libraries. And that's step one. We're going to fill out our application, and who knows, we might get a medal, which really is a sign of excellence of a service. So someone at IMLS actually nominated us. So they must have been finding out what we were doing here, or maybe my just talking to them helped. And finally, I sent a couple of links to the master plan. I reviewed the plan with a quick scan and really found that there was very little mention of the library in the plan and futures for the plan. It talked a little bit about what we were currently doing, but nothing about the future, nothing about the discussion of new buildings and new sites, which we need desperately to serve the ever-increasing population of Edison. And some of you may recall that in the last master plan, there was a proposed new central library for Edison, something that would have been equivalent to what some of our neighboring libraries have and communities. So something to look at. I'm going to attend the planning board meeting on Monday to just talk about that a little in the public session, just so that the planning board knows what is actually happening now with the buildings and the needs for the future as Edison continues to grow as a dynamic community. Anything else you want to, we don't really have any changes this month. Only Emily started, right? We mentioned that. So no one really started, no one new, no changes, no one's left. So we're copacetic. One of the things I guess we should also talk about, we did a little promo with the school, and we hope to speak to the superintendent, acting superintendent, about promoting library cards. So we'll be mailing about, I think, 175 library cards to people who have requested it through the mail, and that was done through the schools. They handed out the applications. So we're looking to expand that program. This was just a pilot, just to see how the process would be at our end. So we are anticipating over the next year, we would like to, still the goal would be to get every student in Edison a library card. So we're looking at 15 to 16 to 17,000 library cards. So I mean, I think it's an excellent goal, and we'll kick that off in September since that's National Library Card Sign Up Month. So I guess that's it from us. Anything you want to?
No.
You all good?
Yeah, I'm good.
She's good.
Is that, okay. All right, very good, thank you very much. We'll move on to the committee reports. And I will mention, because Alan, you didn't mention, but the North Edison Branch construction project is moving on. The Facilities Committee met, we actually met on the 6th on Zoom to discuss a little bit the master plan and to discuss the updated plan and also the project at Maine that we're hoping to get started with the project at Maine, the renovation at Maine. So we are definitely making progress there, which is excellent. The next committee is the Finance Committee. Now, Sue is not here. We did not meet. We were going to meet with to review the budget, but we did receive the budget, but we did not have a chance to meet ahead of time. And then we have Personnel, and Fiona, do you want to, we did meet.
Yes, Personnel Committee did meet. We spoke about the contracts, well, not the contracts, the, what's the word?
What was it, non-union?
Non-union contracts, and I guess reviews to be done.
Right.
And the reviews to be done.
Right, thank you. And then Policies and Bylaws did not actually have a meeting, but we did review the museum pass policy, and we have that for review tonight and hopeful approval. And the last committee did meet, the Strategic Planning Committee met online again. We met on June 28th, and we were discussing the branding proposals that that had been received. We didn't make any. We didn't take any. We don't have any recommendations on that at this time, but that's what we were discussing. Any questions about any of those? All right. I don't believe we have any old business. And for new business, we have a resolution to establish a bank of $600 starter bills cash for the new self-check machines for the purpose of making change for payments. So these are the self-checkout machines that people just check out their materials themselves. And from what I understand, these now you can just do everything there. If there's any payment that needs to be made for a lost item, you can do it right there. So do we have a motion to establish that bank of $600 starter bills?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Question?
Oh, yeah, please, sorry. Yeah, any questions or comments?
Where did you come up with, oh, sorry. Where did you come up with $600?
We have 6 machines,
Okay.
and each of them will get Biblioteca has come up with a formula based on their experience on how people use the machines when they make a payment. So I'll just use this for example, it's not precise. Someone's going to put in a $20 bill. So you need to make sure you have like 2 10s and 2 5s, 21s, 25 dollars in quarters and dimes and whatever. So we got the number basically from there. Their number was anywhere from $95 to $104. Something along that weird number. And so we just thought it'd be easier if we just make it $100 a machine. That's where we came up with the number. And
Good question.
as you know, it's basically, we no longer charge fines, but people can pay fines for other libraries, as they do here when they come in and they say, oh, I owe a fine to Highland Park, I want to pay it and get it off my account. They can pay it here. They also can pay for lost books and items. That's principally more of what we're collecting the fees these days when someone loses or damages a book. So people can do this. The plus of self-check is that it's privacy for people. No one needs to know I lost a book. If someone lost a book, I pay for it. It's off my record. I'm now clear to borrow other items. So self-checks are really a good way for people to really maintain their own way of what they want to read, what they want to do, without anyone looking at what they're doing over their shoulder. So.
And how often are they going to be changed? How often will you remove the money and provide new change?
Based on, since we don't have fines anymore, so we're going to start with starting with every Friday or every Monday, that kind of thing. I have a feeling that's going to be too often. There may not be anything in there. So that will probably go to every 2 weeks. So at this point, Amanda would be going out to Clara Barton and to North and doing that and reconciling the change.
And, sorry, last question.
That's okay.
How many, so each library, each building's going to have 2 each, or Maine would have 2, North would have 3, and CB would have 1?
You've got that exactly correct at this point. You've got your numbers exactly correct.
Maine 3, 2, and 1.
Actually, North is probably going to get 3 based on the circ. We currently have 2, as you know, the old self-checks at Maine, 1 upstairs and 1 downstairs. In the North Branch, we currently have 2, and in Clara, we have none. So it was, at this point, 1 for Clara on the first floor. We'll see if we need to move the ones when we close in North. We might move the second one to Clara on the second floor and utilize the other one back at Maine. But with the volume at this point at Maine, the 1 upstairs and 1 downstairs has been fine. And also RFID is much quicker than the checks that we have now because you can put a whole stack of books down and check everything out all at once instead of doing things individually. So we're going to have to see, and hopefully as our circ increases, we may see over the next 3 to 5 years that we probably need, maybe at North particularly, given the circ patterns, 1 more machine.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Miss Mead,
Yes.
Miss Pam,
Yes. Yes, yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Miss Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
Miss Massey.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, the next resolution needed is to approve a professional contract for architectural services with Arcari and Iovino for the renovation of Main Library Branch in the amount of $149,000. This was one of the items that the Facilities Committee discussed during our meeting. So do we have a motion for that resolution?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, are there any questions or comments about this particular resolution? Sure, yeah.
And how did you come up with the 149?
Oh, that was his proposal.
That was his proposal?
That's his proposal. Yeah, that's in our packet.
149.
Yes, 149,000.
And that was the architect's proposal?
Yes.
And how does that line up with what others would be charging?
What other, well, this was the proposal. You may recall, this has been a long process, but the Facilities Committee did meet with a number of other architects to review their plans, their ideas for Maine. And this particular company, Arcari and Iovino, was the company chosen. And you could see the breakdown on his proposal for design development, construction documentation, bidding, and construction administration. Yes.
I'm just, is this plan been thoroughly vetted? In other words, the amount of money that we're spending, is there something that, is this plan gonna make it complete? Or are we gonna have to put extra money towards finishing it or towards, in other words, is the building gonna be finished? In other words, is it gonna be done? Are we gonna have to spend more money next year, the year after?
That is a very good question. And I guess I will answer this question because it has come up in discussion, that this particular renovation of the main branch could take place over more than 1 year. What seems to happen is that the next step would be the complete design, and then it goes out to bid. So once the bid prices come in, and Alan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, then we will see if it needs to be broken up into more than one stage.
Basically, and I was looking, and I know it's here somewhere, the proposed cost for the project is, I believe, 1.66 million, based on what this project is. And as you recall, Anthony was here to give the concept to the board. So is there something we would want to do afterwards? I don't think anyone can answer that. All we could say is if this is, we're getting the proposal for that project at approximately that price, then that's the project. I mean, that's, as far as I can see it, we went through the vetted project with the concepts probably about 10 times, with everyone having input, staff having input, staff looking at it, moving things around, saying this would be better here than there, the flow would be better. So I'm pretty confident that this basically is going to be it. It is an 18-month project from start to finish. And so, the first couple of months is taking the original concept that the board looked at, several weeks ago, turning that into a schematic, followed by the design development with all the steps that he would be going through, including coming back to the board before we do anything and do the construction documents. So before anything goes out to bid, it's going to come back to the board for a full review again. And at that point, we certainly, I think that would be the point we would say, okay, this is what we're going to do. You know, what happens when we break down a wall, for example, and something's wrong? We don't know. And I think you know that as well with any kind of construction. But as far as I see this from our vantage point, this is the main project that we're able to do, given the monies we have and the budget we have.
I understand that, but and I'm not complaining. It's $149,000. I'm not complaining about the price. How much is the architect is charging us $149,000? How much is that in the percentage of the total above it? In other words, at the Board of Ed, and I'm only saying that at the Board of Ed, our architects are running at 5%. What is the total number?
166.
Are you looking for the percentage of?
I mean,
the architect as compared to-
took a calculator
Yes.
out, Joe.
I'm sorry?
I just took a calculator. I'll say 1666666 times, you said 5%?
Yeah.
I did something wrong of my calculations, right? 1666666, right? Times, 5% is 0.05.
Yeah. it's-
0.05%.
no, I don't know why I said it like that.
That comes out to
About 9%.
833.
That's about 9%.
Can't be right.
That's about 9%,
83,000.
right? That would be 9%?
I will actually say this about this contract. This is less than the contract that we have for the North Edison branch. And that was one that we worked with the architect to even get it down to, I believe, in the 160s.
I understand that. I totally understand. All I ask is that if we're going to plan this and do this the right way, and send it out to bid, I don't want to see a change order.
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, I think the
And, and,
no, I agree.
I understand when I'm talking about architects, because I got a lot of architects and a lot of money. And the fact of the matter is, you know, I get architect who says, oh, there was a change order for a switchgear, and it was $841,000 for a school. I went, you didn't see this before? So what I'm asking is simple.
I mean,
Is
I
this
totally
the total number? It's not going to exceed this number? It's not.
So, Joe, let me say something. So this proposal is, if it's listed, I just want to get it right. Can I just see a copy of that? It's this 149 is basically for the design, the documentation, doing the bidding, and the administration. So we're going to still see the final design before it goes forward. So we're going to have that final approval.
But we're
is
still
what
paying
that is. Right,
$149,000.
we're paying $149,000 for the design, he's administrating the whole project.
And
under
is
this
there a
cost.
construction consultant with that?
Yeah, construction administration.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that's all in here. Now, just so you know, and I'll say
I seen it.
my concern, and I brought this up at the meeting,
I'm sorry.
was that we have one person doing all that.
Yes.
And where are the checks and balances for that?
That's why I
And
asked
our
for,
discussion, right, and our discussion in that was because in my experience with projects I've done, the checks and balances always need to be there. So we did discuss at the meeting that we were going to investigate to see if we can find a company that will be the balance, check and balance for the project. So in other words, before payment, if there's, to me, if you have this project 18 months and it's split up, well, this is the first goal, well, we need to have somebody say, other than this company, yes, this was done right. All right, we can make that first payment. Okay, and the next, so that's the check and balances that I propose that we need to have. And that's where I said I would vote for this if we have those checks and balances, which is something that we all agreed on the committee to have. So I get what you're saying. Again, this 149 is to do all of this work up until getting the bids out to the companies doing the actual work. So that's.
I understand.
Again, that's my understanding and feeling on this. But I get what you're saying, because I had that.
I wish you would come and argue
uneasiness,
at the
too.
board for us in the public when I'm talking about, 45 million.
I'm just saying, that's what my fear, not my fear, but my question was the same thing. Where are the checks and balances for this? And that was the solution we came up with, is that either we would go to the township and say, do you have, inspectors that we can use? If not, whatever companies, engineering company we can bring in. So
Yeah.
that's something that we're going to have in the project, because at the end, as I said the other night, I don't want it to be at the end and we're questioned, well, why was it done that way and it's not right? I don't want that question, because that all is a reflection on all of us.
Okay.
So that, just so you know, that was the discussion we did have. It was a lengthy discussion we had.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's fine. So,
All right.
I hope that answers your questions.
Oh, yeah, now I understand.
Okay, good.
Are there any
I
other
did receive a proposal today from another company that would potentially be a project manager for our North Edison branch. And I just got this today, and I really haven't looked at it more than what's the cost.
Right.
That's the first page everyone turns to.
Sure.
And I'll share that with the facilities committee. The way they made their proposal, they might be a good candidate, because the way they broke down their proposal, just for them at the end to verify everything is done. So I'll send that through. I haven't even talked to them more than, hi, I'd be more than pleased to get something from you. So I'll send that through once I know a little bit more. But that seemed to be a company that gave me that price just for that end piece.
Right.
That verification of what we talked about last week
Yeah.
in committee.
Yeah, that's exactly, it'll be good. So,
Yeah, that's ideal. That'd be
That's
great.
exactly
to
what
see.
we're doing, on the other side. Okay, what we're doing. The fact of the matter is that we have projects that are going on. And one thing that we did decide is there will be a construction consultant on site, because I don't want to have 20 people there and nothing being done. We need to have the people doing the correct job at that time. And I'm not getting change orders. I already told them,
and
guess what?
I would expect we would get, like, once the project starts, we would get updates on what's being done, where we're at. I mean, I think that's a pretty standard from the company doing that work. So I think that's how we can also keep it accountable and, make sure that everything is on track.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent. Any other questions? Yes.
All right, so Alan, bottom line, when do we anticipate this to start and finish?
Well,
When do we anticipate this to start and finish?
Well, if the board approves this tonight, I'll call him tomorrow, and then I can get you that particular answer, to be fair. He does outline very clearly, it's an 18-month project, which is what we knew that we were going to do. And the discussions we had was that our plans were not to close the main library. So that would be done in phases. We would work on one floor at a time, so that we can keep the other floor open. Because for Maine, we're very fortunate to have 3 entrances. So if the first floor is closed, we have 2 other entrances that people can walk through. When we close the second floor, people can go to the first floor. So just to go back 2 sentences, I think all of us are going to live with that one on a daily basis. I think we're looking at, let's just say we are middle of July. This has to go back, be signed back and forth, all that stuff. I mean, I would say you're looking at what, August as a starting point. The board already did a concept. So you saw the beginning concept. So he may come back once, meet with myself, facilities committee or whatever, but he's got the basics for him to start working on the CAD drawings for the next level for the design, because all we are now is concept. And we're probably not going to be that much off the concept given the budget that we have and what we were planning to do in the main building. So I'm going to say guesstimate August, September. So 18 months would put us into 4 of this year's 12 is 16. This is all, there are no external walls at this point being broken. There's a couple of internal, so it's not reliant on the weather. And so you're looking at, if you would start in September, 18 months would finish up in February 2025, right? If my math would be right with the months, which hopefully would be about the same time that the North Branch would have been done already. So,
So,
you know, which would be great. And then we could do some cleanup and just move some furniture around in Clara, just freshen it up. So we'll have 3 buildings to better serve the community.
Thank you.
excellent. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, we'll move to public comments. Yes.
Miss Massey, we need
Oh,
to vote.
sorry, no, we didn't vote. Excuse me. Wow, that's, all right, I forgot. Yeah, it was so long ago. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Miss Mead,
Yes, let's get this started.
Miss Pam,
Yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Miss Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
and Miss Massey.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, now we will move to public comments.
We can go back.
Anita Amarnath, 1501 Edison Glen Terrace, Edison, New Jersey. Thank you very much. Excellent job about the book mobile, and very happy to hear the progress. Couple of things from the residents, feedback from the residents. The schedule, if you can increase the font and keep the schedule when the people come to the book mobile library, so that senior citizens can take a look at the.
That is a small version. There's another version.
Yeah.
That's 8.5 by 14.
Yeah, if you can just make a bigger version. And a lot of senior citizens ask for it actually on Facebook as well. You have it, so you can hand it over to them and they can put it on the refrigerator. That's the first thing. Second, from the residents, mobile library stop. I know you can, Edison is a big town. Understand that you cannot satisfy everybody in one session, but if residents are requesting extra stops, what is the procedure? They email you, or they email the library director, or anybody designated for this?
They could email the bookmobile supervisor,
Okay,
John Taquino,
okay,
who is working with the staff on the schedule. So that's
Okay.
his responsibility, and he did a great job bringing this all together. He's the one principally who did it, along with Mike reviewing and double checking. So at this point, the July and August are pretty well set, but we will have a fall schedule for September through December. And based on some of our experiences now, we may make some tweaks for the fall.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. And specifics, there are a couple of areas which residents felt that you missed. For example, there are two big condominiums, Edison Woods and Edison Glen near BJ's, and on off Route 1. There are a huge number of kids. In fact, there are 2 to 3 bus loads of kids who come from there to the Edison public school system. So if you have a mobile stop, in fact, you can also encourage people right then and there for library card. You can increase your memberships. So if you also can keep the registration forms for new cards right there, you can increase your membership right off the bat. And somebody asked for recreation center summer camps. I believe there's summer camps in certain areas, whether you can get the book mobile there for this summer. And the other feedback is for the library magazine section. Residents want an update on new magazines, if you can add new magazines. I think we have the same magazines again and again. There are a lot of new magazines. For example, I'm a big fan of Barnes & Nobles, and you are too, whenever you're in Menlo Park Mall.
Which one?
Barnes & Nobles. They have
Yeah.
a very beautiful section of magazines. Perhaps you can take a look at it. The board can also take a look at it and update and improve the magazine section. For example, there's, I like Success. It's an entrepreneurial magazine talking about success from, so similar kind of magazines.
We do that every fall because our renewals start in January. So if you have any particular, and you know how to get in touch with me.
Yeah.
If you have any particular titles, just send them to me and we'll see if they're available for us to order for the branches.
Okay. And existing magazines, I believe residents, you have the magazine display, and once you open, you look out for issues. There are a lot of issues missing. The past month's issues are missing. So they want more like, May, August, September, all, the previous year's issues also. So if you can take a look at that, the inventory, and then this is from the parents of our school system. STEM programs, they want more, for example, robotics, which was very popular. The registration just goes fast.
Well, and I have to thank you publicly because, and Mike knows, you post on several of the different Edison residents and all those others and have been helping us promote all our programs. So I want to say a thank you.
Thanks.
For doing a great job.
Thanks.
You're a wonderful volunteer.
Thank you, Alan. But I just wanted to let you know that there are popular programs like robotics and makerspace. If you can open up extra slots, if you have the space, very popular, or extend the registration date, because I think people are just finding that once they go in, the slots are already booked. Or if they're very popular, you can have an extra session for the parents and the kids. So this is the feedback. And I went to the Elizabeth Library for something, and just wanted to bring it as a, it's an improvement tip. For example, there are flyers and maps of various places to visit in the middle of the library. There's a big shelf where upstate New York, hiking trails, bike trails. It was very nice. And they had Rick Ross's small books for travel. So this is the time people travel, they like to take the small books and see, go to Italy, France, how do you travel, those kind of books. So it was very nice. I thought about our library. And friends of the library, any update?
Yes, we're actually, Ms. Massey and I have to, let me start. We've been in contact with Sigun, and we were working on a date, and the 2 dates he gave us for the Clara Barton Library those are the nights we have reading buddies, and the place is packed. So we need to come up with another date. So it's early August that we are planning to have the Friends of the Library organization meeting. So we've been in touch back and forth. We just have to finalize the date. And we're this way, we're trying to get something like a month in advance so that Michael can put this out a couple of times in the newsletter.
Okay, all right. That's about it. Thank you so much for doing a phenomenal job.
No, thank you.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, hearing none. Do we have any trustee comment? Yes.
I'm wondering if you want to discuss two things. One, I'm sorry, the museum pass policy, whether you just want to keep it for tonight or
Oh,
review
yeah,
it.
no, we did not. Yeah, that was not.
And a
in-
discussion of the budget.
Yeah, I'm going by the agenda, and I see it's not on, right, we don't
Well, I
have it on
guess
the
it should have, I
agenda.
guess I should have added it for new business, but I didn't change the agenda, so.
Okay, so
if that's
before
okay.
we move on, did everyone have an opportunity to review the museum pass policy? I think as Alan explained when he put it out, there have been procedures for in the past, but now this is just putting all of those procedures into one policy. So if we have had a chance, do we have a motion to approve the museum pass policy?
So
Motion.
moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments about the policy? Yes.
I'm just wondering how you were able to determine the fee amounts of the $10 and $15 respectively?
Oh, the fee amounts for if
For
they're
late
lost?
fees or if they're lost, correct?
I think that was determined. It wasn't the policy committee that did that, policies and bylaws. That's basically what other, I think, nearby libraries charge. And sometimes they'll charge even more if they're late.
Great, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, any other questions? Hearing none. Oh, yes, yes.
Alan, has this really been utilized? Have people been using?
Well, we haven't started it
hasn't
yet.
started
Because we
yet.
didn't have a
Yeah,
policy.
that's
For some reason, I
started.
thought
So
it started.
if you remember at the June board meeting, the board approved, what was it, 15 museum passes. So they're coming in. And for us to actually put this in motion, we needed we found all these memos that had been done years ago, but there was never a policy that we could find.
All right, and
So
has anyone shown any interest? And how are you going to advertise?
as on our website, and we will do a newsletter once a month devoted to our museum passes.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the library did have museum passes, not as many, but the library did have museum passes, but they were stopped at COVID, when COVID hit, because they were just too expensive and they couldn't be used.
I would say probably once a month, we get an email asking us when we're going to start that again. So I think once we get this rolling, they'll be used, and we're going to rotate them at the different branches so that the different neighborhoods every couple of months will get a chance to get passes that are closer to them, so they won't have to drive around the corner, across town, I should say.
All right, if we have no further questions, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
and Ms. Massey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Excellent, thank you. And then the last item is the budget. The budget worksheet that we received. And I have to commend you for, trying to put these figures together. I know that we don't have a shared services agreement complete right now, but you really, I think you did a very fine job with some estimates.
I mean, basically, we have a pretty flat budget. We only received something like $60,000 more due to the ratables this year. So that's really a flat budget. There's not really anything significant. And so pretty much what I did was to keep all the numbers the same. The revenue that we have, way and above what the township is, if you look at the miscellaneous line, has to do with the return of previous years' unused funds from 20 and 21. And that's why we have those. And pretty much the board has already earmarked most of that to go into capital for the North Branch and for the main library. So that actually was very timely in us having that to provide the funds for the capital projects. So that's pretty much where that money came from, above the 1/3 mil that we got. So, and on the, I tried to, and it's not a balanced balance sheet, but if you go all the way down to page 6 and page 7, I will, for next month, go through and provide the board with a list of all the capital projects that we have approved over the years. So we have that. Also, we're working on the monies that we have spent to date for the engineers and the architect at the North Branch. So we're keeping track of that. And probably at the end of this month, we will ask for some of the matching funds from the state so that we can have them ready to be used when we go out to bid. But the board has actually already done quite a few things in the way of capital projects over the years. And so I put that in here so at least it gives us a sense of what we approved. So I will update all that for you for the next month. But I needed to at least get this out so that we have something to have a discussion about and see where we need to go. The township has been working with us in trying to answer many of our questions in regards to the shared services agreement. I think we're making progress. I think we're just going to have to come back and come down and sit and negotiate a couple of final numbers and try to move forward with it so that we can put that into effect for us before the end of the year.
All right, and I know you have explained that the budget is a living document, that it can change, but I think it would make sense for us to approve this. So do we have a motion to approve the 2023 budget worksheet?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, could we have a roll call vote,
Sorry, I have a
please?
question
Oh, sorry,
really quick.
sorry.
That's okay. On page 4 of 7, in B7 utilities, there's about, there's some additional utility costs in 2023 that were not present in 2024 or 2022. Can you explain those costs? It's lines 90 through 93.
I'm sorry, Kat, which line was it?
90 through 93 on page 4.
Oh, it's for gasoline, utilities, water, main library, and sewer.
Well, two things. One, when I looked last year, We never put any numbers in those. We just never did. The gasoline previously was under the splits. So they previously, we did not budget separately, but that's a guesstimate number we're using as a base based on some information that we've been given from the township. The utilities water, also, we just had zero. We never, for somehow, never did that. And that is line 070. That's from the Middlesex Water Company. And that is for Clara Barton and North. The water main library is what shows up in the shared services agreement because we get the water from the town. The sewer we were never assessed a sewer fee from the town, but it's in the shared service agreement, and that was the number that was given to us for all three branches. So some of these I pulled kind of out of the shared services agreement. They may not be right to final numbers, but I just did something to as placeholders.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Living, never mind.
No? Now's your chance.
No,
Okay.
you don't want me. You don't want me in this.
Okay. All right, hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
I'm really curious, but I'll ask later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. Trust me.
You know my phone number?
Oh yeah.
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. DePasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
Ms. Massey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Is there any other new business that we're not, that we have? I don't think so, but just checking. All right, so we did public comment. Now, trustee comments and any questions that we have not, that did not pertain to any, just any comments or questions from trustees. Yes.
Alan, this document, can I bring this over to the Board of Ed and put it on our website?
I'm not sure what it is, Joe.
It's
the,
about don't have a library card?
Now, I
yeah.
know we have enrollment. I know we can put them over there by the enrollment center. That, to me, I think is a home run. And the summer 2023 schedule, I think we can put that together somewhere at the Board of Ed. We can take and put it on our website. Maybe make this kind of a document like this, we can make it available for the public, especially they're coming in every day to enroll their children. And
Good idea.
it'll give us something to hand out to the people that are enrolling their children. And we can put it on the website, of course, to take in for.
I was going to say, this probably is that the right one we want to, I can check with Michael. We can give you some other stuff.
Okay.
I can bring it over to the Board of Ed.
Oh, yeah, just bring it over, we're here.
I mean,
That's a good suggestion.
I pass the Board of Ed twice a day on my way to and from work, so it's really not out of the way.
Okay. Leave it to my attention or the superintendent.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I would like to echo Mr. Romano's statement, actually. If we could get some copies for town hall, we can see if there's, places to distribute them here, maybe post them, in town hall
Sure,
itself.
that's an excellent idea as well, to post the information at town hall. That's excellent. Any other comments or questions? These are good.
If that's the case, can I post it at my church?
Why
Everywhere.
not? Right? Why not?
And
I still have to get together with your pastor to come and do a program about the history of the church.
All right, that's excellent. Any other comments or questions? These are really very good. Okay. All right, hearing none, do we have any additional announcements? Okay, no announcements. Hope everybody is enjoying the summer. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, the meeting is adjourned. Get this, the meeting is adjourned. It is 8 o'clock.
You have never been to a Board of Ed meeting, have you?
I have, and I've listened to the, oh, sorry. And I've listened.
First 45 minutes, I'm like, turn TV off.
Excellent. Our next regular meeting is Tuesday, August 9th, 2023, right here at the Municipal Building. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Well, I mean, you're,
All right. Wow.
this board would like to know.
Long time. It could have been. It could have been. That's the truth. It's like, oh, boy.
I will be seeing Mickey Mouse at the next meeting, during the next meeting.
I mean, it's,
What's
I
that?
said I'll be seeing Mickey Mouse.
Oh, are you going down? Oh, you know what? Let me write this down. When are you going?
I'm going to 6:13.